course, like I'm of the belief that you should always take the best player that's available to you, right?
I agree.
And so I know you're with me on that as well. And so that's where you have to really evaluate. Like if you don't take a defensive player at 10, let's just say as fans here, right? If we're worried about not taking a defensive player, whatever defensive player that may be at 10, and then I'll get back to be more specific with your question. But if you're worried about that, then you've got something wrong with you as an organization. Like you couldn't, if you have to take one player at number 10, you're saying that there's nothing you can do with the 9 other picks that you have in this draft. There's nothing that you could have done in free agency. There's nothing that you could have done before the trade deadline, right? Like something's wrong. If your organization is broken, if you are totally dependent on one defensive player who may or may not pan out, right? If that guy is who you are solely dependent on, you have problems. Okay, so that's what I want to preach, is to kind of just keep an open mind there at 10, while also acknowledging that it's very likely that the best player on the board to us at 10 is one of those 2 corners. If that's the case,
and if they align, beautiful.
Exactly. So who do I want at 10? I say if the best overall tackle on the Cowboys board is there at 10, that's who I want. If the best overall receiver or pass catcher, i.e. Jalen Waddle, Jamar Chase, Kyle Pitts, is on the top, at the top of the Cowboys board at 10, that's who I want. If the best defensive player at the time, because they're like, we talk about they're going to get their pick of the litter at 10 with the best defensive player. If it's J.C. Horn, if it's Patrick Surtain, if it's Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, if, whoever, you name it, like if that's their best player on the board at 10, that's who I want. So again, if they don't have the best player available mentality, number 88's not on our team right now. CeeDee Lamb, right?
That is a phenomenal point.
You got to think of this offense is ready to go compete for a Super Bowl right now. The defense is not. And so you can go a long way towards salvaging that and kind of piecing together some of your holes that you're now left with, since 2017, right? So like, that's the whole purpose. You've got a 4-year window on rookie contracts before you got to decide what to do with them. And we're in that year now. Those guys are gone. So we've got to figure out how to fill holes. We've got gaps,
major gaps. Yeah.
Most particularly at the cornerback position. But up front, you and I talked heavy about the impact that defensive tackle has on you. If you can't evaluate the state of your linebacker group without legitimate big boys up front anchoring the interior of your defensive line. So we've got holes there. And then of course, the refusal to address the free safety position in the draft as well. Like whether or not it's a smoke screen, right? We can talk about that all day too, ad nauseum, but the smoke screen of, oh wow, the Cowboys are infatuated with Kyle Pitts. Oh wow, the Cowboys are interested in acquiring pick number 4. I'll just say this, obviously I'm not in charge of the organization, but if it's my team, if I'm the GM, it's hard enough as it is to not only hit on, top tier draft capital, right? It's tough. It's tough to hit on those guys, right? So just the talent evaluation in itself is already difficult. Let's not make that more difficult by giving up extra draft capital in the process to go and acquire somebody that's not a sure thing, especially when you consider all the holes that we've got, right? We've already talked about it. Like the Cowboys are tied for the 3rd most picks and draft capital in this 2021 draft. Let's use that. The more darts we have, the more chances we have at, one of these guys sticking and helping us out on the defensive side of the ball.
You're a baseball player, man. You're actually a professional baseball player on the side, right? Yeah. And so one of the things that you need, using a baseball reference, you want as many at bats as possible.
Yeah.
You want as many at bats as possible. And
if the Joneses were perfect at evaluating and hitting on draft capital, we're not sitting here in this position at 10 saying, oh gosh, we got to get a defensive player, which is not necessarily the reality. I'm just trying to relay the point of how difficult that is already. Let's not complicate that by getting rid of more draft capital and moving up and then risking our long-term, because let's be real. If you're going to try to go from 10 to 4, that's at least one extra first-round draft pick that you're going to be giving up in the future. So
don't do it, Jerry. Don't do it, Steven.
Please.
Well, all you guys in the front office, man,
and I'll even go so far to say is this, like, I almost don't ever want to move up in the draft unless I'm going after a quarterback, unless I'm going to get my franchise guy. Like, stick and pick, baby.